Welcome to the First Cut podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and we've got something new, something a little crazy, something a little fun for today. Let me bring in Greg DuCharme, my usual partner in crime. Hey, Greg.
How you doing, Rick? I'm so excited for this. It's quite a unique experience, and I think this is proof of one thing and one thing only. Well, maybe it's proof of two things. One, cabin fever is real, and two, it can show what your imagination has in store. So I hope everybody enjoys this today.
Yeah, we are trying something new, and I'll explain everything that's going on. But let's bring in our guest for this, my opponent, Will Brinson, CBS Sports senior NFL writer and host of the Pick Six Pod. Hey, Will.
What's going on, Rick? This is my second CBS crossover pod of the day, and with all due respect to FFT, I'm way more excited about this as like DFS is. I had told EK, who's our pods are, at one point in like the last 6 months, I was like, look, if you want me to switch and just be a golf guy, I'll go full golf. I'm ready to go full golf, and I'm glad that we have some golf on the horizon. But the combination of getting to play a video game and we're getting paid to like play a video game and a golf video game at that is a pretty remarkable thing. I wish that 18 or 15-year-old me could know that this was coming in the future. He would have studied harder or maybe played more games.
Yeah, so this is really just an excuse for us to play video games. But here's what's going on. Will and I share a similar affection for the video game called The Golf Club 2019, which is a pretty accurate, resemblance of real world golf. So him and I are going to battle it out at a great, Augusta National clone. You'll recognize the holes. It'll look good. It'll sound good. And we're also going to enlist the help of Greg to run through a simulated Masters that I have created. So in my model, in my algorithm, have actually simulated the results for what would have been the Masters this week, Greg. Now, you know who has already won this. Don't spoil it, but pretty interesting stuff.
This is fascinating stuff. When you think about a simulation in the game of golf, one thing that comes to my mind is, well, there's you lose the randomness. You're going based on past results. You're going based on statistics. Likely, knowing you, Rick, there's some strokes gained elements in there.
Oh, yeah.
In course history, elements like this. Who knows what happens with weather? So my big concern when I hear, well, we're going to play some spreadsheet golf is, well, okay, Rory McIlroy is going to win. Dustin Johnson's going to be near the lead. Brooks Koepka is going to be right there in the mix. And all those could be true. But what I've noticed is there is a little bit of randomness round to round to round. So it is captivating to me. And I can't wait to figure out how it works for you, how you actually designed this. I can't wait to hear that.
Love it. Love it. Well, we'll get into it. Will, are you ready to rock and roll here? We can get.
So I need to click. I have clicked ready.
Go.
Oh, we're playing.
All right, here it is. Flyover number 1, par 4. Greg, this is a nice little opening hole. Looks good so far, doesn't it?
It looks really good. Reminiscent. It's a I would say a very, very good clone. It's one of the more difficult holes on the golf course. That green can be just brutal. So I'm excited to see how this green plays here. And here's Rick in a maroon top, a striped bottom shirt, rugby style collar. Looks good, and that's just a perfectly played tee shot. Will it sit down? It looks like it jumps into the first cut there.
Too strong.
See if you can hold. We'll see if you can hold it there.
Well, see, what you don't know, Greg, is that was Rick trying to remind you that the name of this podcast is, in fact, the First Cut Podcast.
That's right.
The
First Cut
on Apple Podcasts.
Subscribe and listen to wherever you get your podcasts.
No, Will's going to have to watch out here because the wind is a little bit off to the left, but it looks like he's played here before because he knows exactly what to do. That has split the middle. What a shot. Very, very well done.
Well, it helps. Sometimes you don't want to have the honors because
well, you learn a little bit, right?
I played off a Rick's shot there and cheated a little bit there to figure out which side he was going to.
Now, in this case, you do not have the honors because you're quite a ways back behind Rick here. And it looks like you got a little bit of a long shot in here, maybe a 5-iron into this green, which could be difficult to hold up the hill. Oh, you did hold. Oh,
that's a good shot. Well,
under the hole. That's a good spot to putt from. That'll be an uphill little hook putt. Not too bad. What I'm curious to see in this game is how it comes out of the first cut. No pun intended.
Well,
Not a great swing.
I found,
Okay, little left.
I don't know about you
Little
guys, but
quick
I
at the
found
top.
that the hardest thing on this game is that that's going to be a little slider.
Yeah, wait till you see this one.
Oh boy. The hardest thing on this game for me is like judging the percentages of those second shots based on where they're sitting. Like I just find it to be extremely difficult.
Right. You have 86. It's 86%. How far is that going to go?
Look at this.
What is that?
Oh! Good take.
And that was quick. You barely hit that, Rick, and it got all the way past the hole. That was pretty good. Now, the first hole, interestingly enough, in your simulated golf here,
Yeah.
the first hole near the top of the leaderboard, it did yield a number of birdies in round one anyway. There's a couple of, I see a couple of double birdies,
Bang.
but not very many. Will adds another birdie to the list here in a completely different tournament, but very, very nice. Now,
yeah. So Greg, it's actually funny you bring that up because that's the thing I'm probably most proud of with that simulation is that it really does reflect true Augusta National scoring rates. So like last year, for example, there were only 5 holes that played under par. It was the 4 par 4s and I think number 3. And the way that I kind of built that model was to reflect that. So it came very, very close to, the difficult holes playing, more difficult and the easy holes playing a little bit easier.
So you have actually used, correct me if I'm wrong, you use past scoring averages as we look at the second hole, the downhill par 5, which
look at that pin. Look at that pin location.
There's been a lot of memorable shots to that whole location there. But Rick, you're actually using scoring averages from past tournaments and you actually put them into this simulation?
Yeah, so the big factors of it are obviously, each player's long-term form, short-term form. So guys that, like Jordan Spieth, for example, long-term, really good results, short-term, not so much. Course history when available at Augusta, and then like the hole by hole scoring, because we get it every year and because it plays so similarly, it like you can really work that stuff into a model and be pretty confident about it. So it does actually take into account a lot of the actual historic scoring rates for Augusta.
It's very interesting to see as Rick hits his second here, or his first rather.
That's perfect.
That's a perfect kick, and that's going to get way down the hill.
That is greedy. I love it.
Well, I heard you saying hang on that. You split the middle right there. What was wrong? It's like a Hideki Matsuyama one-handed finish.
See, the thing about this game, though, I've found, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rick, but like if you can, as long as you hit the perfect tempo on your drives, you're typically going to end up in a pretty good spot. It's when you mess up the tempo that it really goes sideways. I feel.
Yeah, getting the correct swing tempo, back at the right rate, forward at the right rate is more important than
being
almost
accurate.
anything.
Yeah,
exactly. Because if you go fast or you go slow, then you see the ball kind of get all wonky and you'll yank it or you'll leave it short to the right. It's you got to be right on your tempo.
I can't tell how much the lie matters either. Like they tell you it matters a ton, but I'm just not sure it matters all as much as they claim.
No, I don't think so. Not especially not from the fairway.
So right now, speaking of being in the fairway, Will has a shot. It's a memorable shot here, and he misses to the right. You have the right hole location on number 2, which is on the Augusta National property, one of my favorite greens on the property. I think the design of it, with all the width that they have in the fairway, you really have to. You could tell it's designed for a third shot, and you're playing your second shot into these pockets where you can access a hole location. In today's game and in this game that we're seeing right now, you can actually get at this green in 2. And we remember the most memorable shot for me is Louis Oosthuizen's hole out for double eagle on this hole on number 2. I mean, do you remember that, Will?
Oh yeah.
We did some fun Masters facts earlier in the week with Sean Martin and Kyle Porter, and that was the 4th Albatross in Masters history. There's only been 4 of them, which I don't know if I was surprised about or I was like, oh no, that makes sense. It's like hard.
Do you guys know the other 2? I mean, the only other one I know is the shot heard around the world, which was Gene Sarazen on hole number 15. I don't remember.
They were said earlier in the week, but I do not remember what they were. That was definitely one, the shot heard around the world. This is an absolutely devilish little chip here.
See, this is the thing. This is the thing about this golf course. We know about how fast the greens are, right? You know they're always going to be quick, but It's more than that. It's the slopes, and it's hard to access a hole location like this. It's just it seems like every putt you end up with is challenging. It's hard to get it below the hole sometimes, especially on a hole like this where you have that hole location way over on the right and the green tilts to the right. You're likely going to have a downhill putt because there's not a lot of room to the right of that hole.
Will, you are like
That was lucky.
You are Spiethian right now.
That was lucky. That was Spiethian.
You've rolled in birdie putts on the first two?
It's because my wife came down and she whenever I play golf around my wife, I just tend to get white hot.
Now, Jordan Spieth in the model, actually, you're a little better than Jordan Spieth because in round 1, Jordan Spieth made a par at number 2. He wouldn't make his first birdie until number 3. But I will give you a little hint as to what he did. Starting off in round 1, he went out in 34, and he ended the first round with a 71. Now, Rick, when you do this simulation, how do you weigh factors like course history and recent form? What is the balance between them? Because to me, Jordan Spieth is probably the most when he gets to Augusta National in a typical year, he has the widest range of difference between those two. On one case, he's not playing very well. We haven't seen great results, but at Augusta National, we always see great results.
Yeah.
All right, 1 sec. I'm going to hit out of the sand here.
The course history stuff for Spieth, he probably gets hurt because I don't go back too far, right? Especially for Augusta, where you get guys who play it year after year after year after year, especially with the past champion status. That even 3 or 4 years, you're not getting like peak Spieth. So it's definitely incorporated, but I feel like Spieth might not get as much credit as he should.
It's very interesting. I mean, he starts off with 71, as I said, 72 in the first round, which 1 under par, that will make the cut just about every single year. So we love seeing that. And in his third round, if I'm not going too far, just because we brought Spieth up, he shoots 74. So I tend to agree with you. Just after those 3 rounds, my prediction would be that Jordan would have a little bit of a higher performance than that. I think he would tend to do a little better than that, unless the conditions were extremely difficult. Do you weigh in conditions? What do you do about conditions? Is it like an average over the years?
Yeah, so generally it's just right. So like I know what the winning scores have been, right? So I generally try to keep it around that. So anything between, oh man, Will and I are making a mess out of this.
Yeah, this is a disaster.
Rick spoke too soon. Because that went in.
that was a shank that went in. Like it just caught the cup and dropped. But yeah, we are making a mess out of this third hole a little bit here.
Oh my god.
See, this is the thing about Augusta National.
What am I shooting? I was 2 under. What am I shooting here?
This is for bogey.
It will always bite you. And playing the format today, it being stroke play, you're going to have to hang around until the very end. To me, the most difficult part of this game is definitely putting, and the most difficult part of Augusta National is definitely putting. So I think you're going to see some solid ball striking rounds.
This is a debacle.
Not so solid scores.
Will is currently doing his best Ernie Els impression.
Oh man.
Oh no. Come on, Will, you got this, buddy.
Just tap it in.
The disaster. I should have just putted it underneath. The problem is, that's too soft there too. Oh boy.
No, you got it.
The problem is like the angles and like the speed on some of these greens is like I just threw up a snowman after I went birdie snowman at the Masters.
It's like Ben on at the.
Yeah, it was pretty on.
Yeah. And it doesn't get any easier as the fourth hole is this long downhill par 3, 240 yards. Like this is just begging for trouble too.
And it's not even that's not even the most difficult hole. I mean, looking at your model round 1, there are a number of bogeys. Not really very many double bogeys on that hole. I mean, Dylan Fertilli made a double bogey in the first round. There was another one from Corey Connors. A number of bogeys. There's a couple of double bogeys here. But these are, we're way down. These are some guys that are definitely going to miss the cut who are making doubles there. The challenge here is again, it's all about the greens. And this is a difficult green, but I would say it's a little bit softer than, say, the green on number 3, which, I really like that element of the course.
Patrick Reed was the first round leader, right? Greg,
Patrick
you have it
Reed
there
is
in
the
front of
first
you.
round leader.
Something really, really low. 63?
He shot 63 in the first round. John Rahm shot 65 right behind him. Rory McIlroy shot 66. So those are three guys you would definitely suspect of being up there. There are not a lot of rounds in the 60s. We have Shane Lowry, the Open champion. He shot 69 in the opening round. You had another 69 from Tommy Fleetwood, but a lot of rounds in the 70s, a lot around 72, some 75s. Definitely some high scores. We had a 78 in the first round from Cam Champ. He would go on to make the cut. He actually ended up doing pretty well. So very interesting to see. But yes, Patrick Reed goes out, and I'll tell you a little bit about his first round because this is pretty nuts. Starts off birdie, makes a par at number 3. This hole that we're playing right now, the downhill 4th, the par 3, he makes a 2 there. So that's pretty good. Then he backs it up on number 5, which is the hole that Tiger Woods made bogey on all 4 days last year. He makes birdie there. Number 6, the par 3, depending on hole location. And I don't know what you do about hole locations. I guess they're probably traditional hole locations, but he makes another 2 there. So he goes 2-3-2 in 4, 5, and 6. And then why not? Adds another birdie at number 9. He does make bogey at 10, but where he really gets it all going is the eagle at 13.
Oh, and that's right.
That the eagle at 13 was huge, and then he birdies 15 and he birdies 17 coming in. So he shoots 63 with 2 bogeys. He makes bogey at 10 and he makes bogey at 14 and shoots 63. That's the lowest score at Augusta National ever, tied with Nick Price and Greg Norman as well. Neither of them won the event. So will Patrick Reed be the first one to shoot 63 and win the tournament? We'll shall see.
We shall see. I'll tell you a little something about the pin locations, but Will, who would have been your guy to win it this week had the Masters been played?
Man, it was hard to. I mean, like, you hate to go against Brooks. Obviously, I don't think DJ was in the sort of form that you wanted to see him in. I sort of thought that I haven't talked about golf in weeks. It feels very bizarre. I kind of thought that. I mean, I know what your sim results are, so I don't want to spoil. I was in on the guy that you ultimately had winning because he's been playing so well, and I thought he was due. I would have. Race again.
This is an up and down.
Already. That was
maybe I should have picked Jordan Spieth.
You've made like 130 feet of putts already.
It's ridiculous. Awesome. Yes.
Long one at 1, another long one for birdie at 2. A lot of putts at number 3.
Yeah. And maybe I was gonna actually. No, I think I was gonna go with Sungjae. I know that he'd been like really hot, but like, and that's sort of, is that too bandwagony? I just feel the way he was playing, like he was just putting it all together, and you forget how young he is. Like, he's still like 21 years old. Has that cool demeanor. I just
that would be my one concern with him at Augusta is the youth, and not because he's immature. There's nothing about his game that speaks to me in a way that I wouldn't like it. His game suits Augusta National very well, I think, but experience tends to be a really valuable factor. Unless you're a Jordan Spieth or a Tiger Woods. Tiger had only played the course. I mean, it was his first when Tiger won in '97. It was his first event as a professional. He had played in the Masters twice before as an amateur. One year he was a low amateur, one year he missed the cut. But you have to have some experience there. And I worry about that a little bit with the Sungjae Im.
I would agree with that.
Sungjae Im fans over here, Will. This is like the fan club.
Huge. Yeah, it's almost like you knew that coming in here.
No, I love I'm a huge Sungjae guy too. Although I had Tommy in the one and done when he splashed at the Honda. Was it the Honda?
Oh yeah, on 18 at Honda.
Unbelievable.
So Sungjae Im shot 75-70 the first 2 rounds, which I could see that. The greens they're so challenging. You have to know what's going on. You have just some really difficult holes like this one right now, where Will is approaching the 5th green here from shy of the bunkers, a little ball above his feet lie, and when you get onto this green, if you get over that little false front here.
Oh, see, you missed just
short. Not.
If you miss, it goes over there.
And
I've got trouble too. Look at this. I
can't
can't even see where I'm at here.
Now, Rick, what kind of clubs do you play with in this game? Is it the?
I've got the master clubs.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna try to. I can't even see where I'm going here. I'm just gonna try to smack one out.
Let's see what we get here. This does not look good. Oh, it does get out.
Yeah,
okay.
Caught some branches on the way through, so it's basically a layup into this par 4. That pin way in the back. So this is
I think that pin is okay. I think you can access that hole location there. You just keep it to the right a little bit, because if you're flag high left here, it will end up in that back bunker, and you nearly. Oh man,
you called it.
I called it.
Yeah.
So you got a little left of that flag and end up in the back bunker, and now you're short sided. Now you're in real trouble. Now let's see what Will Brinson.
Yeah, I'm staring down a big number right now.
So what did it's a couple of other young players. One guy that I had in mind going into Masters, and I wasn't sure about him. He was just a guy I was interested to see what he would do, was Abraham Answer. And I've been watching this guy all year long. After the President's Cup, to me, Abraham Answer is a guy that this hits pretty hard. The delay here, and I mean that only and when we talk about all these guys, I mean it only in a tournament perspective. How is their performance? What's the perspective of that? Because we know the scope of all this, so we're not making light of it. I'm just to me, Abraham Answer with this layoff, he's on a little bit of a hot streak. He's coming off a President's Cup, which to me gave him a ton of confidence. And I'm looking at him now in the simulated round. He goes out 71 in round 1. In round 2, starts off with a 35 again, so he's 2 under at the turn, and another 35 coming in. He comes in 70, so 3 under through 2 rounds, which puts you. I mean, Patrick Reed's right up there. Patrick Reed shot 63 in the first round, and I'll give it away now. He ends up with 72 in the second round, so he's sitting 9 under, 3 under still in the mix. What do you guys think of a player like Abraham Answer at the Masters?
I will tell you what I think as I drain this bogey putt.
Is this his first time playing?
Oh my God.
So he played last year as well. He did get into the Masters last year as well.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the first time thing is a big factor for me. So that would, I like Answer a lot. I mean, I watched the President's Cup. I thought he played really well. I think he's a guy who could fly under the radar as a nice value. Reed, who you mentioned, I think was on my radar too. Like, if only because A, he's playing well, and B, he's like so hateable.
Yeah.
I just feel like people don't. Patrick Reed is sort of Brooks Koepka-like in the sense that people don't want to jump on him because they just dislike him.
Right. Just a quick correction here on my part. Abraham Answer did not play Masters last year, so this would have been his first go at it. So 70-71 would have been, I think you would sign up for that because it put you into pretty good
pin placement.
Yeah, so we are now through 5 holes. We look like first timers out here. Will is 3 over. I'm 2 over. I just made triple on number 5 from the pine straw, and now we're heading to another par 3.
Oh, God, disaster.
Catch that.
Well, it's not a disaster. Long into the back left portion. One day there will be a hole location back there, and
just not today.
It's just a tough putt. That putt over there.
Yeah.
When you have the hole location in the back right up on that top shelf, if players hit it into the back left side of the green, which is very easy to do, even if you don't hook it, like both of you guys got a little quick from the top there, hook it a little bit to the left. Even if you miss that whole 10 or 15 feet left of it, it's going to feed all the way down there anyway. So it's not a horrible place to be. But that's where Will is there. You'll see guys pitch it from the green sometimes there.
Wow.
Because you have that little tongue in the back middle portion of that green.
I was going to say he might have to.
Enough break.
Oh, am I? I'm off the green, so I'm not out, but I'm off the green. So let me just knock this bad boy.
Okay, that's makeable, but if you miss, it could go 40 feet by.
Yeah, settle down. Jeez, oh man.
Man, they are quick. They are really, really quick out there.
So, Will, what are you guys doing over at the Pick 6 pod? I saw are you doing mock drafts? Is that what you guys are up to?
We got our prospect rankings up this week. Josh Edwards just joined us. to do running back prospect rankings. Ryan Wilson is going to do wide receivers on Thursday, and then Pete Prisco is going to do tight end and offensive lineman on Friday. And we did a fantasy, a football draft, a football movie character mock draft.
Wow,
who goes first in that draft?
I had the first overall pick. I took Steamin' Willie Beeman.
Oh, well, yes, of course.
By the way, I like Will taking my play there, pitching it.
Yeah, no, that was a straight up listening to your play.
Yeah,
so
Will just hit a pretty good chip
there. You look at the draft coming up. You got anyone? Is there anyone sneaking under your radar? Like for instance, who's your top running back?
I like DeAndre Swift out of Georgia as the top running back. Nice little Masters theme there too, right?
Yes.
He's so explosive. You can use him in the passing game. Josh compared him. We recorded the podcast on I've lost track of days, but Tuesday, and Josh, I thought had a good comparison of him to Dalvin Cook, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Like, a guy who can get to the edge, and once he like so sneaky about making the turn, but when he makes the turn, he cuts it and he can turn it on fast, and just a breakaway runner. So I have him as my number one, pretty far above the rest of the guys, I think. Maybe John.
You think of the two recent running backs coming out of Georgia too, and it's quite a good fit. I mean, Nick Chubb has been, I would say, one of the best backs in the league, and Sony Michel has been really valuable as well. So. Oh
yeah, and Todd Gurley too.
Oh yeah, don't forget about him.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, Georgia running backs, man.
And now at the par 4 7th, Will off the tee. This one just up the left side, fading back to the middle. That's a tough fairway to hit. The thing about hole number 7 here at Augusta National, if you think about the general layout of the golf course, you have on number 1, you have that fairway bunker that cuts into the middle of the fairway, and it asks you for a fade off that tee. There's a lot of curve in that shot visually. Number 2, then just the same, going down the hill, you have the fairway bunker on the right-hand side. It's asking you to turn it right to left around the corner there. And then number 3, it's asking you to turn a little draw around the bunkers there. All the holes, until you get to this hole, ask you for curve. They present shape to you. And all of a sudden you get to number 7, and it's a bowling alley. It's just pin straight, and it doesn't ask you for any curve. I think this is one of the more underrated tee shots that you'll see at the property. So as you can see.
Oh, the other thing that's interesting too, I think it ties into the whole construct of the hole as well, Greg. But like, you look at, I'm hitting like a 5. I've got these beginner clubs because my swing's just not as good as Rick's. My virtual swing is not as good as Rick's. Yeah. Like if you're a short hitter, man, I mean, you are just having some, like Rick had a 9-iron in. It was a little short, but like an 8-iron just getting in there. I'm hitting a 5 hybrid and barely getting out there, and I don't really want to take out a 5 wood to try and blast it. It just shows you just how, like, if you're an average hitter, this course and this pin placement is ridiculous. Like, just how tough it really is.
What I've noticed is it's very easy, and this is very realistic. It's very easy to make bogey or double out here. Like, you hit one bad shot and it just compounds shot after shot, and you're just cooked. Like, that was a lie where Will's absolutely buried in the face of the bunker, and it's nearly impossible to get it out.
Yeah, fortunately, that's something you're probably not going to see in a real Masters tournament. You very rarely see balls plug in the lip because of the construct of the bunkers. But you're absolutely right. You can make
the roll
on a golf course
that's
like
a good play.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's a beautiful play. It reminds me of Happy Gilmore. Oh, I saw it go past. Did it turn around and go back in the hole?
I'm so scored of this putt. It doesn't move much, and it's just like I have to hit it straight. I'm terrified.
It's a tricky one.
Okay.
Oh, you made it. He ported it. But
this
right,
is remarkable how
example,
the layout out here is just so well done.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
You play a shot like you both did, right, out of the bunker. You come up just a little bit short because you're trying to keep it underneath the hole so you can have an uphill birdie putt. You come up just short. You end up in the bunker. You play a great bunker shot that gets past the flag, turns around and comes back. And all of a sudden you have a 4-footer, which on a normal day, on a normal golf course is you're likely going to make it. And out here, you're terrified. It tests you on every shot. You can't get yourself out of position. And if you do, you're going to make a bogey. And the par fives tend to play a little bit easier as we're on the 8th tee now. They do tend to play a little bit easier. And you see in your simulation here, I'm looking at round 2 now. And I see on number 8.
Just look how much further Rick is than I am. I can't even get it there. It's ridiculous how much his clubs are compared to these.
Well, it's going to create some trouble for you, because now what has to happen for you, Will, when you're a shorter hitter, and that's true in this tournament too. One of the reasons we see long hitters have so much success at Masters is you can get the ball closer to the hole. When you have long clubs coming in, you leave yourself with more difficult putts, and you just have to be so perfect around the greens. And it's just hard to do. It's not going to happen. You're likely not going to be perfect around the greens.
Well, let me ask you this then, because I think it's an interesting topic, and one I was sort of batting around with some friends, or actually both it, but like with the Masters moving to November, I live in North Carolina. It's close, in terms of geography. I've driven down there a couple of times, and the weather in November is obviously very different than it is in April. Typically around here in November, you're playing out there, and not that the Masters is going to be dried out or anything, but these fairways could run. And I wonder if it might be a little bit more beneficial that time of year to a shorter hitter who can be accurate and let it run out and have some easier shots into the green than they would maybe in April.
So a couple things on that. First of all, I would say it depends on what happens in October. There's a chance you get a really wet October, and it could slow it down a little bit. Second of all, if there's a place where they can make the golf course play exactly like they want, no matter what. I mean, it's almost like they're almost setting the golf course up like a video game. They have the ability to do whatever they want to the golf course. They can put it on firm and fast. They can put it on. They can make it play a little bit longer. They have a lot of options when they look at the golf course. Part of the reason is, well, they have sub air in the greens, which everybody knows about. So if it's wet, they can dry it out a little bit. And if it's dry, they're not afraid to put a little water on there, right? They're going to have the overseed, which is going to be a healthy growing season. The way they mow it back towards the players, I think that this is still going to play long. I don't see it being really fast on the ground. I don't see it playing much different than it typally would in April, personally.
Rick and I,
we've both just looked out birdie putts on 8.
Greg's over here providing high octane personality. Rick and I are just groaning at this point.
We're throwing our controllers through the window.
I love the background noises. There's more important things to discuss here. Birdies are hard to come by, right?
Yeah, and actually, Greg, it's funny. So you asked earlier about pin positions and stuff. So yes. Because Augusta has really traditional pin locations, what I actually did on we won't give it away yet, but on Sunday 16, I increased the eagle rate, which would be an ace rate a little bit, because you usually get that Sunday. Now, increasing it's a 0.5%. It's a huge number to do it on. But because I knew that traditional pin location can yield some more aces, which is what we've seen over the years. So I did have fun with stuff like that.
I think it's the most important aspect to Augusta National.
Look at the slope on the front of that green.
Yeah, you've got a 7-yard stretch. You have to be on that exact level or you're done.
Yeah.
Second shot here is critical.
Well, and what that means, Rick, and as we're on the tee at hole number 9, the first shot is critical. If you can put the ball in position here on number 9, you have an opportunity to control your distance. This goes back to what you were saying, Will, about being a shorter hitter. Yeah. You got beginner clubs. If you have slower club head speed in real life, you are at a severe disadvantage. Having a long club into the greens here, especially if you're out of position, you have a hard time keeping it on the proper level.
Kick.
Over there.
Just into the first cut.
Subscribe wherever you get your podcast.
So looking into this round 2, as we have, I'm going to go over in the simulated round here to our cumulative aspects here. and just read you down some of the scores through 2 rounds now. So
and tell us where Rory's at, because he's going for the career Grand Slam. We need to know where Rory's at.
Rory's going for the career Grand Slam. In round 1, he shot
perfect.
6 under, as we said.
Good job.
And he shot so he was 6 under after round 1 with a beautiful 66, and everybody's all hyped up. Hey, Rory's he's gonna get the job done here. Well, through 36, he's still at 6 under par. John Rahm was probably the biggest mover, and he started off 7 under. He shot 65 in round 1, as we said earlier, and in round 2 he shot 4 under 68. So he is at 11 under par through 2 rounds and is leading the tournament.
Okay, you know what? So I'm going to chalk it up to quarantine brain. But like, you were like, who would you have to win the Masters? And I definitely had a list of guys that I was like thinking about. I just couldn't name any, but like Rahm, I've been on Rahm a lot, or I was on Rahm a lot when, golf was actually happening. It feels like it's right there for him. Because like and he could just go so freaking low.
Yeah. Especially if you give him, I mean, if you hear his score after 36 holes, Will, I mean, I would definitely be all over him. He's at 11 under par, right?
Yeah. So who's in second there? How many shots? He has like a couple shot lead, right?
He has a couple shot lead. So second place is Patrick Reed, and he's at 9 under. So he shot even after his 63, his record setting 63. Then you have Hideki
Matsuyama. To follow that up.
Yeah, it is hard to back that up. And
where's the break?
72 is not a bad score out there. So that's pretty good. Hideki's at 8 under. We have Tyrrell Hatton is at 6 under.
Hatton's the other guy was gonna make a run at it too. He's just that, what's fascinating about that wrist injury of his is that like, I think that first tournament back, people thought that he would really struggle, but it turns out it wasn't even like a full wrist injury. It was more like a cleanup type of situation.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Here's what we're going to do, because we're getting to number 10 here, which is an interesting hole I want to talk through, but we're going to take a quick break, grab a hot dog, and hear a word from our partners. And we're back. How about this hole, number 10? This is what is this most famous for, gentlemen, in recent history? I'm thinking of one specific shot here.
Yeah, you're thinking of 2011. Well, I'll let Will answer this one here.
Right, no, I've got quarantine brain, and I talk about football for a living. What about 2011? Who was the shot?
This is Rory with the lead.
Right? Yeah. And he just splays it left into the woods.
Into these houses over here. Yeah.
Oh, and then like were people joking about this, or did they actually put a marker up for where his here's where Rory lost the major?
I would not be surprised if that was real. I have no idea if it is.
Do you think they want Rory to win the Masters?
Who's they?
The people at Augusta.
Yes,
I would think so.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think that they would. They want to have the best competition they can have each and every year. But I do think having Rory McIlroy is a stand-up guy, right?
Was that a little fade or a draw? Was that a little fade?
Just a little baby cut over the edge of the trees there. Caught the slope and ran it all the way down. That's a good shot.
Thank you.
You did. You really hugged it there. You didn't go with the.
It was green.
The wind off the left is a little hard to turn it over a little bit there.
Yeah.
Here's Rick.
I can't do it. I'm gonna be in the Bubba spot in the pine straw on the right.
You hit it too far right. You didn't catch the ridge where you get that kick down to the left-hand side.
Yeah, that wind's brutal. That's tough to get out of here.
Well, you don't want to overdo it, right? You try to hit too much of a draw there. You end up overdoing it and missing to the inside of that dog leg is pretty bad. So this looks like a pretty good shot. It needs to get down a little bit, maybe. No, that's well done.
That's a great shot, Rick.
Wow.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yep.
Now I'm ready to play on the back.
Yeah, Rick's going to have about 6 feet sliding. I think that one will slide a little bit left to right. But it will be quick.
The problem for us in this match is that neither one of us is doing the other one any you can't get any reads off what I'm doing, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, we're all over the place.
Typically in a golf game, you can look and see what your opponent is doing, and then make you have similar clubs. We have totally different clubs, and as a result, it's you can't steal anything from what I'm doing.
Yeah, we're not helping each other here at all.
Too much.
That's a good ball. Sit down.
Oh, hang on.
Oh,
These reads are ridiculous.
Yeah. You think it's going to stop and it rolls out another 6 or 7 feet.
Now, do they have Pinehurst on this game?
Have you played it?
No,
It's unbelievably hard.
Really? Just the turtlebacks. I mean, like, that's what's so hard about this game. So it's not surprising at all.
Yeah.
The thing I like about this game, other than, and I have no experience with it, but just watching, what I like about this game versus, say, like an old Tiger Woods game, there's no like extra flair, juicing up spin. Or
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, there's no power-ups. There's no and you can't like make your guy any better. It's just like you have to become better at it. Like it's
right.
It is
it's
what
kinda,
it is.
It's very realistic in that sense.
All right, if you call that cuss word, Jacob, I didn't mean to do that. I think
so. Back to the simulation here, because there's a couple other guys through 36 holes I want to pay attention to. Again, as we said, Patrick Reed's at 9. Jon Rahm has the lead at the halfway point at 11 under par. You have Webb Simpson, who started off with a 70. He now shot 5 under and is at 7 under, right there in the mix. So very interesting. And then as we jump over to through 54 holes, I think we're at a point now where we can do that. The tables have turned quite drastically. Patrick Reed has shot 70. He's now at 11 under par. Jon Rahm, who is leading the way, has shot 74, and he is now back to 9 under. So he's now 2 back of Patrick Reed. He is
Rahm shot 74 on a Saturday.
Rahm shot 74 on a Saturday.
That's it.
Which it could happen with him. He gets
but his best rounds are usually on Saturdays. Like he was the best Saturday scorer on tour this year, I believe.
I won't argue with you.
Yeah, he can blow up easily. Don't get me wrong. You're not wrong. I'm just saying, like, like you feel like, and maybe usually he's not leading when he has his big Saturdays, so that could be different too.
That's the thing is I don't know how he is with a lead. I don't know. He's a great chaser. He can go crazy low when he has to. What happens with the lead? I think back to what happened at the Players. He's on hole number 11. And there are a number of instances for a guy that finishes in the top 10 as much as he does on the PGA Tour. He's won 2 tournaments that are not. He's won 2 tournaments. It's 3 technically, but one of them is a team event, the Zurich Classic.
You know that little pond on 11 is a lot more.
Yeah. So we are getting into the iconic holes here. We are getting into it. Will's worried about the water on the left of 11, as he should be.
God, and the ball's above your feet, so you know it's going to go a little bit left. The wind is pushing it right here.
Yeah, the wind's helping.
50 yards with a 3-wood. I want to be greedy. I mean, that's a hard shot for a second shot.
Yeah.
I got a good swing on it. Push it left.
Now this hole. Here's what I'll tell you about this hole.
Oh my God! Didn't move left at all.
No, it didn't.
Will, it's not a bad shot.
Yeah.
Ben Hogan said, if I hit the green on number 11, on hole number 11, I pulled it. He never aimed at this green because he didn't want to hit it into the pond.
Right.
So missing that to the right there is a very common spot. This is one of the more challenging holes on the golf course. Rick is just saying, forget that. I'm going right at the flag.
Yeah.
It's come up a little bit short, but that was an aggressive line, Rick.
Hey, I'm 4 over par through 10. I got to make some birdies here. We got to run out.
I feel like breaking 80 is a good. What's your best score out here, Rick?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, I would love to just be a couple over. But yeah, it is so difficult that the big numbers add up so quickly, and we're playing it. I mean, we're playing Sunday pins. We're playing firm fast. We're playing all as hard as it can get here. So yeah, if I stayed at 4 over or just gave a couple more up, I'd be pretty thrilled.
So a player who I would say is also thrilled after 54 holes. Now jumping back to your simulation here is Webb Simpson. And Webb Simpson, who I mentioned earlier, was at 7 under through 36 holes. Well, all of a sudden he's at 14 under. He shot 65 in his third round, which was just a ridiculously good round. And all of a sudden, Jon Rahm, who was leading the day before, now trails by 5 going into the final round. Patrick Reed, look at that thing run out. It just continues to roll by.
So I will tell you, Webb Simpson is very good in simulation golf because of he you might not know it, but he makes birdies at an unbelievable rate. His birdie or better number is unreal. He's not going to do it like Rory, right? He's not going to drive the ball 350 down the middle.
My guy, he says my guy was spiked the club into the ground. Ben Hogan have liked that.
Yeah, we need like more realistic mannerisms after we 3 and 4 putt.
I think I just 5-jacked.
All right, we're in now. Now, where are we going now, Greg? I'll let the flyover.
Okay, well, this is we are now hole number 11 is included in this, but we are in Amen Corner, and we are now going to one of the more famous holes in the game.
Look at this,
number 12. This is just spectacular, and it looks just like it.
Even the colors down to the azaleas back there with the pink and the yellow in the back. And people can't see it because it's only a podcast, but I mean.
And even where 13T is, which is all the way back there, which is like the quietest spot on the course because the patrons can't get back there.
Up in your business too.
Yeah, this is it, man. All right, let me see if I can. I mean, what am I trying to do? Just hit the green? Like, I mean, I'm a little nervous already.
Well, I mean, take it from Tiger Woods here. I mean, you remember last year, 2019, we had 4 players in the last 2 groups rinse it here, and you don't want to do that. And oh man, Rick, it carried. Okay, you missed to the right, but it carried. Now we remember Jordan Spieth in 2016 famously hitting it in the water here last year.
Back from it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess he did win the Open Championship in 2017.
Oh, I guess yeah, that's right.
But a lot of people say that shot still sticks.
But even the Open Championship, he had to go and like get lucky when he hit off the Callaway tour bus or whatever down 40 miles down the hill.
Well, Molinari rinses one here. Now, didn't the year Patrick Reed win this, his ball like gets hung up on the hill, right? Like he could have this is all over it. Go in.
Oh
my God.
It's one of the and it just gets all the way through the green there. It's one of those holes where there always seems to be a memorable moment on it every single year. Every Sunday something happens, and it's a pivotal hole in the tournament, and it's the shortest hole on the property.
Rick almost chipped in.
Wow, that was beautiful, Rick.
That had a lot of little sauce on that.
Beautiful touch there. Just a little play it on the high side. It lips in a little bit. That was beautiful.
So I went and my buddy Drew Evans and I went and set up shop we were down there for a practice round, but we went and set up shop just at 12. And I mean, it's just so ridiculous. Like, and what's interesting about, I thought that was going to be, what's interesting about Amen Corner too, like I know 11 technically counts, but I feel like only the second half of 11 should count.
Like when you actually get to the corner.
Yeah. Like I just like you're not watching guys really if you're in the Amen Corner, like sitting in the corner, you're not really watching guys tee off so much. But like obviously when they get, down the way down the ways a little bit. Thank you. Likewise. You tend to watch them a little, I don't know, like you see them kind of walking down the green and like they start to look as they're taking a shot, into the green at 11, they're starting to look at 12 and to see who's teeing off because they know that, they're involved in the same race that these other guys are. And you can do like, there's just an intense glare throughout the whole section there where things get very tense. It's delightful.
Brooks Koepka talked about when he hit it in the water there.
And Tiger was like, or he felt like Tiger was looking at him, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah. And he said, he didn't react. He didn't really react. He said, well, I knew Tiger was back there on 11. And if I reacted, he would know that it was me. But if I didn't react, then he has only one thing to go on, which is sound. And does he think that I hit it fat? Is it the wind? And it may affect his club choice.
Yep.
Love it.
So it is very interesting. It's one of those, you think about looking on to the next hole. I think of 16 at TPC Sawgrass. This is another one when you're on 11 green. And the thing is about the difference between Sawgrass going from 16 and then looking over to 17.
Wow. How about that? Little draw right around the corner.
Yeah. And we're going to take advantage of this one. Phil, where Phil hit it into the.
Yeah, Phil. That's a bomb, baby.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be short of Phil.
The most memorable tee shot here is Zach Johnson accidentally topping it.
Oh, man.
Dead left.
That was a unique moment.
My favorite thing ever. This is another really good one. There you go. Yeah. Perfect.
Hug the trees. Perfect.
We have 8 over. What am I worried about?
Yes, just start firing darts.
I'll tell you, here's
the second shot here. You get a very strange, uneven lie here. It's a lie that's fairly unique. It's a hook ball above your feet, but it's also downhill. And you have to, the challenge, if you block it to the right, you have the tributary to Rays Creek sitting right there on the right-hand side. pull it a little left, you end up in a bunker. The green, the way the green lays on this, in combination with the uneven lie you get, is
it's perfection in terms of course construction. You know, like you're
yes,
always going to have the ball above your feet, which means you're going to pull it left. So you're instinctively going to be trying to keep it back to the right, but there's this little tiny creek there, and you also have to like it's genius.
For such a small creek, I mean, I guess for the size that it is, it collects a lot of golf balls, which is it just speaks to the design. Man, I think a Tiger's tee shot in the final round last year. I think it's one of the more forgotten shots.
Catch that ridge.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Come on. All right.
I'll take that for eagle.
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
look
it's
at this
beautiful.
Ball way
shot.
above my feet here.
Yep, that hang and lie.
He's got an 8-iron into this green. I got this normal.
I'm gonna just take I'm gonna add a little loft to this bad boy. There we go.
Little extra backspin here. Downwind. I think that's what you're gonna need, Rick.
Oh, hit it a little left.
Uh-oh.
Be right. Sit down.
That's good.
So just to let you guys know, as you're approaching this green, in Webb Simpson's third round, he made birdie on 7, 8, and 9, made par on 10. He made birdie on 11, birdie on 12, birdie on 13.
Wow. Every hole of Amen Corner, he birdied?
He birdied Amen Corner, which I guess that's one way to shoot 65.
But like if you think about the holes on Amen Corner, like it does set up to be like a very birdieable group of holes for Webb Simpson.
I would say except 11 is a real challenge.
Yes,
sure. 12 you can make birdie on, like you said, because it's short. But go back to the history books here. Claude Harmon, this is a story. Look, this is a long time. Wow. Wow.
Look
you
at
think
the
it goes
birdie
in
putt got left.
and you got 8, what do you have, 8 feet, 10 feet?
Yeah. I mean, it was a great putt. And it's just a long 7 feet coming back.
Yeah. Should I try to protect? Obviously, I'm going to try to make an eagle, but I feel like I would just take my 2-putt and run right now.
You got to get the pace right here, Rick.
That's like the putting on the
grab it.
Rick!
Bang.
Oh, boom!
Bang, bang, bang.
Wow.
Wow, nice shot, buddy.
Let's go. Thanks. Double breaker. Good putt. All right. Wow, we played that 3 under?
We'll take it. Yeah.
Yes, we will.
Very well done. So you mentioned you mentioned the Amen Corner.
3 under on the back, by the way.
I'm getting hot.
Which you can do, but it can bite you. So beware, because this 14th hole is a difficult green. But I just got to tell you this story about hole number 12. Because it goes way back. So Ben Hogan played with Claude Harmon on number 12, and Claude Harmon makes a hole-in-one. This is the father of Butch Harmon.
Yeah,
he makes a hole-in-one. Ben Hogan, who's also playing with him, had hit it in there to like 8 feet, and they're walking up to the green. And Ben Hogan makes the 8-footer for birdie. So Claude makes hole-in-one, and Ben makes a 2. Nice. And Ben says to Claude Harmon as they're walking off the hole, and they're really good friends. The only thing he said to him for the entirety of the hole, he says, "I don't think I've ever made 2 there before. I think that's the first time I've ever made 2 on number 12. What'd you make?" He didn't even realize he's playing in the same group with Claude Harmon.
He doesn't realize he aced it.
What? Yeah. It speaks to this. Ben Hogan's they called him the Hawk, right? He had a focus about him that was intense. But Ben Hogan made 1-2 on that hole, and at that point.
This is a true story. Obviously a true story. I wouldn't tell it on the podcast. But my grandfather was a great golfer, and he actually had like 7 hole-in-ones.
Wow.
I'm not nearly as good as him, obviously. But after he died, there was a bunch of golf balls and a bunch of golf memorabilia and some Butch Harmon, some Dave Pell's putting books and chipping books and everything. And it was like, does anybody want these? And I'm the biggest golfer in the family, so I was like, I absolutely want them. And I also got all his old scorecards. He was like a meticulous keeper of records. Cool. Yeah, and so he had gone down to Augusta and played Augusta in 1973, I believe, and had an Albatross.
No.
Yes.
Wow. You're kidding.
Yeah. It was incredible. Like I was opening up.
And you've got the scorecard.
Yeah. I was getting emotional and just looking at the scorecard. I was like, he had a freaking Albie.
That's so sick.
Yeah. And I think it was is 15 a par 5. Am I crazy?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's 15. Yeah.
That's where the shot heard around the world was.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I just like
That's
after,
so sick.
this is probably he probably died 6 or 7. Probably 6 or 7 years ago. But like, just looking at it, it's like whoa. We knew he had all these hole-in-ones, and that's awesome stuff. But like, an Albie in Augusta might be better than a hole-in-one.
Oh, that's like I would never play again. Like that's the pinnacle.
Yeah.
That's an interesting discussion. Is an Albatross better than a hole-in-one?
Sure.
I mean, I guess you could say because you got to hit 2 shots.
Yeah.
But again, you hit 2 shots.
I mean, it's
not possible to make.
It's 3 under, and
When I can't, I don't have
2 under.
I don't have time to run and go get it. But I mean, it's like obviously it's up in my office. But like he wrote down the 2 shots. Like he flushed a drive, and then I think it was like I'd have to go look and see what the exact yardage.
Oh, that's cool that he had like shot by shot in there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he was a meticulous note taker.
That
awesome. Is so cool. So back to our simulation.
Oh my God, what was that?
Will just hit a 20-foot putt on a 4-footer.
I didn't even do
You're jacked, man. Your roids kicked in.
Got all juiced.
Adrenaline.
How did that happen?
Yeah. So where are we at, Greg? We've got third. Webb slept on the lead, right?
So
we're heading to the final round.
We're through 3 rounds.
Yeah.
We're through 3 rounds. Webb Simpson is leading. You have Patrick Reed in second at 11 under par, 2 shorter hitters. You have JT Poston at 10 under par in third place. Yep, JT has played some pretty good golf of late. You have John Rahm sitting at 9 under. And so he's right there in the mix. Rory McIlroy, the guy everybody wants to hear about. Hideki Matsuyama is also at 9 under. But Rory McIlroy is at 8 under. So his chances after a great opening round of 66, he starts off 6 under, shoots 72 the next day.
Sorry, I keep hitting the A button.
On third. So basically, his chances seem to be dashed. You have Webb Simpson at 14 under. He's 6 back of Webb. It's just not looking great at this time. So what happens in round 4? I'll just tell you what for Rory, he shoots even par.
That's not going to do it.
No.
That's just not going to do it. And it's just disappointing. So it really stings. Webb Simpson, I will tell you, he also shoots even par.
But he had a 4-shot lead, right?
He had a 3-shot
lead. Okay.
Patrick Reed's at 11 under. So Patrick Reed, who's 3 back, the closest guy in contention, shoots 74.
So it sounds like I know who the winner is.
Yeah, the winner is Webb Simpson.
Nice.
JT Poston also shot even and ends up coming in second place. But you look down this leaderboard. This is so interesting, and I think it's something that we should discuss. You didn't have an under round until you get down to your boy Rick, and this makes me think this is rigged. Sung Jae Im, who came in 9th place. He shoots 1 under on Sunday, but everybody above him is at level or even par. Is there pressure in this mix?
Sung Jae Sim, he does well in the sim. I wish I could figure out a way to add like the clutch gene or like the pressure stuff, but no, it is just raw scoring. Sit down. This is the one.
It's pretty interesting how that played out.
God,
yeah, which is a great story.
I mean, I should have laid that off. That's stupid.
Yeah, you went for it. Dunked it in the water. Now you're hitting a flop over the water here. So Webb Simpson, your 2020 Masters Sim champ. I can get down with that. I like that.
Yeah, he's playing well enough.
Yeah, exactly. I would have been. So it's funny when I did this. Obviously I ran tests.
Raleigh's own. By the way, Webb lives. We lives in Charlotte now, but went to high school with all my friends who live here.
And he went to Wake, right?
Went to Wake. Yeah, he had the Arnold Palmer scholarship there.
Love it. So it's funny because when I like decided, okay, like I was testing everything out. And I was like, this is going to be the sim that like this counts. Whatever I press happens, like this happens here. And I was pretty happy to see that Webb came out on top.
Okay, this is a dumb question. If you go, I'm not an idiot. I swear when I ask this question. But when you go high loft, low loft on these, low loft means you want to have the ball go higher or lower.
Lower. It's going to be like a line drive, and it's going to go
so
further.
If you go high loft, you're tilting it down to make it. No, see, I think it's reverse.
If you change your loft to high loft, like your shot to high loft, the ball will go higher.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you go low loft, the ball will carry further.
Yes, but it'll come out like a more of a line drive.
Yes, exactly. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But it doesn't reflect it on the target here, which is frustrating.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it's more of a guessing game. Well, you guessed pretty good because it lands 4 feet next to the pin, rolls out. Okay.
Here, I guess.
You're safe. You are safe. Let's see what I can do here.
Well, I already splashed that once. So.
Oh, that's true. Downhill, chipping back down the hill to the water. All right. Let's be careful here. Hopefully I got some spin on it.
Great shot. Oh, wow.
Look at this. Still wants to go. That's about as good as I could have done, I think.
To save par.
I'm feeling it.
I'm not feeling it, Rick. Too much.
Stay up.
That's too much. Jeez. My putting's been abysmal.
This is not the place to lose a little bit of feel. You get punished for that.
Yeah, you really do.
At least you're uphill. At least you finally have an uphill putt.
That's what. Oh man, that's one thing I'm bad about on this game, I think, and actually in real golf anyway. And it's like, but it's like course management. I mean, like in this game, like you really need to zoom into the greens and to look at, where you need to be. Like I feel like this game is the Golf Club 2019 is like the most realistic game like this that I've ever played, in the sense that it forces. God, I'm going south quickly here on the back. But like it forces you to really play the course itself, as opposed to just fire a shot to the green and spin it 40 feet back.
Right. Yeah. You can't save yourself by mashing the spin button. You have to like land it in the right spot, get the ball to roll a little bit. Like this is that Sunday. Like look at that bowl where the pin is on 16.
Perfect. Yeah. It was perfectly done.
So you can hit it to like the middle and have it kind of release back down there, but you got to hit it there.
The first time I went down to Augusta, I got to see Tom Watson in his final major skip over on the practice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
If this catches the ridge, it might get a lot better, but too short. But I'll put it back up the hill.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm an Eagles fan. How are my Eagles looking this year?
I like the Eagles this year.
Yeah.
I think. Are you from Philly? How did you end up?
Yeah. Originally, I moved to California like 5 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think they're going to be good. Like if you look at to me, one of the key things about this year with the Corona stuff and the lack of all-season programs is consistency. Carson Wentz has like that. I think he's got that extra leap he can take this year. Oh no. Oh, this
is right at it. Okay. It's going to get better. Go in. Oh, good shot. Will.
Oh, wow. 5 feet just for birdie. 3 feet.
Ran it back up, back down the hill. Yeah, probably inside 5 feet for the bird. I love that.
Yeah. But like one of the things I think when you look at this team, it mirrors the championship team in that defensive line for Philly is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Wentz, like I said, can take a leap. I think they'll probably add some more playmakers. Miles Sanders came on really strong at the end of last year. And, when you look at the Cowboys, that's a team that is going to be, they lose Travis Frederick this offseason. He retires. Mike McCarthy's a new coach. Dak Prescott's be learning a new offense. He's on the franchise tag. The defense lost a lot of parts. I don't think the Redskins and Giants can compete. So to me, there's a very good chance that the Eagles can pull away in the division if everybody stays healthy.
Well, you raise a good point that I guess I've considered it for golf, but haven't really considered it for football, that all of these kind of off-season programs are just like if you're bringing in a new quarterback, you're bringing in a new coach, you're bringing in new coordinators, whatever it is, probably going to be a lot more difficult to implement some of your schemes this year over, any other year.
Absolutely. I mean, like you're going to be doing some virtual training in the off season and like trying to teach, a young quarterback, potentially a rookie quarterback, how to play on in a system that's brand new to him.
Can you imagine getting a Zoom call from Bill Belichick?
Hello. It's good to see you, Rick. What we're going to do here is we're going to study the playbook.
That's so good. Yeah, that would be brutal. But no, it's valid. It's valid. I'm embracing the weird right now, Will. Like I understand this year is going to be weird. Like next year might be weird. Things are just going to be weird. We're going to have all virtual drafts. We're going to have crazy stuff
I
happening.
mean, I'm playing a golf video game with you in my living room next to my dog who's snoring, my wife upstairs while we record a podcast and a video show. So I'm also embracing the weird, Rick.
Things are officially weird.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm okay with it. I don't mind it.
That's so awesome. Middle of the fairway for Will on hole 17. It's a par 4, back up the hill. So we've got a couple of holes left here.
I'm gonna say 17 and 10 are the two holes that people forget that are really difficult. Does that seem fair?
That does seem fair. Yeah, I could see that. 17, you kind of, I think you relax a little bit after the par 5, and then after, 16, and then you get to 17, you're like, oh, I'll take a breather, and then you yank one left in the trees, and you're dead.
But even this, like I've got a beastie approach shot coming in. It's got to get up.
Oh, good shot. Carries it by a foot. That's going to get down to a collection area, but that's okay. All right. If I run some magic here, maybe I can get to even par for the round. I wonder.
You're probably not feeling a birdie putt on 18. Maybe. Oh,
let's get back there. That's got to get up. One more yard. Nope. I'm back down in the front with you.
Yep.
We'll have a chip off.
All right. Let me just look at the. I mean, it's just a good job by whoever designed this. I mean, not the actual Augusta, but like building in like these false fronts and these the drop offs that just kill you if you miss.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'll create a course. This will be awesome. Like, let me see what's going on. And I was in there for like 3 seconds, and I was like, nope. Like, I don't even know how courses get made in this game.
I bet because it's a long time.
It looks so difficult. Get up the hill. I left it short. I'm coming back down. That was me trying to get cute. I wanted to ram it into the little false front there and have it just pop up.
Yeah.
And I got real cute with it.
Can you hear my dog snoring on the podcast? That'd be a highlight.
No.
Okay, good.
I wish I could.
He snores. He's the loudest. I've never heard anything snore as loud as this dog snores.
Is that George?
That's George, yeah. People on Twitter were telling me he looks like what's the clown? Pennywise from It.
Oh God.
I was like, that's not nice. I had like 7 or 8 people say it. But he was looking a little panicked. I woke up to a text from my wife on Tuesday morning and it was a picture of my son with George, and Robbie had put his shoes on George. So
George sounds very tolerant then, if that's happening.
George is extremely tolerant. Yeah, we're lucky. A lesser dog would have eaten my son alive at this point.
Yeah, my dog would not have stood for that. He doesn't do clothes. He doesn't do anything. Here it is. This is the tee shot on 18 through the trees, back up the hill. This is one everyone will know and love, and that traditional front kind of middle left pin. Seen Adam Scott make a putt there for the win. We've seen Phil Mickelson make that putt. This is about as traditional as it gets here.
Have you been down there?
No.
Okay.
I
just didn't know. I was just curious, like, because I think it changed. Like, I mean, I watched it. I love the Masters. Great.
Yeah.
But like, it changed a little bit for me because oh my God, what a pull. That is bad. And you kind of like, it's weird. You can, like any golf course, like once you walk the course, you get a better sense than you would on TV, even on as good as the broadcast is on CBS or,
That's right.
That's great. I mean, and even the Thursday and Friday rounds. But you just get this. You're like, man, like you really like understand sort of where everything is, and like you can kind of like I remember. Like, did you remember walking up certain sections of it? It's just
right.
It's the most fascinating place in America.
Well, I've got to get there. Yeah, you just had to punch out of the pine straw. I was reading someone say, I forget who it was, but basically, even just the way it's laid out is so good because everything's like a 5-minute walk from.
You never feel far away, and it like
right.
And like a lot of courses, you'll walk in. Great shot.
Thank you. Sit right there for me.
You'll walk in, like you can see on this game, you can see the clubhouse, and you'll be sitting there. There's not a whole lot of pretense to it. Like you go to the clubhouse, like you walk in and you go to your merch, you buy your merch, you leave your merch there, and you buy some lunch or whatever, and you sit down and eat lunch, and then you walk in like 3 seconds later, you're just on one. Like it's
Right.
it's just, the whole thing is just fascinating how it lays out, and like
That's
you never realize it when you're in the city or the town either.
right. Yeah, that's the one gripe. I mean, Torrey Pines is kind of like my local course out here. It's an hour
Yeah.
away, but like I'm always down there for the farmers, and my sister lives down there, so we're going down there quite a bit. And yeah, I mean, when you have the tournament there, I mean, some of those holes to get like it's a 30-minute walk if you want to get somewhere. And just hearing the way Augusta is laid out is another thing that I'm just like, of course it's laid out perfectly,
Yeah. I mean, you just tell Kyle Porter you're going down this year. You could stay at home.
That's right. Did you book my hotel for me, sir? Thank you.
Yeah,
I'll take
Kyle,
that.
you can handle that. It'd be great. Yeah, Kyle's played Augusta twice.
He was telling us that. Yeah, we were picking his brain on it the other day on a podder before we went live, and I said, "What'd you hit on that hole?" He's like, topped it, shanked it, whatever it was." But we were picking his brain a little bit.
Yeah. Oh boy, did I just put off the green? I had two.
It might go.
Oh,
It might go.
That's not good.
Stay out of the bunker, right?
That is, you should delete that.
We're gonna edit in it just dropping in. We'll just put the sound effects in like it dropped.
Yeah. Ding, ding.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I think that's smart. Into the hill. That's what I tried to do on 17. Now you've got like the same putt. You've got to hit this downhill putt again.
It's a mangling.
Oh.
13-footer for a double, but God, this is bad. Second back nine.
Get in there, Will.
There
Nice.
it is.
You rolled it in. We'll act like that was your birdie putt.
Yeah, just delete. If you get on the
yeah, it's basically a carbon copy. There we go.
Bird and one over. What a
all right.
Was that par?
Played much. That was the par for me. So played much better on the back. Let's see these. Yeah. So 3 under on the back for me. 74 total is 2 over. Will Brinson, 84, but I think you spent half of those on the green, so I won't hold that against you. Getting to the green was not necessarily a problem.
I would say I had 4 holes where just completely botched the entire short game of the putting. Like I told you before, I'm going to favor this course. Hold on.
Yeah, save that.
I just botched it, and there's nothing you can do if you're gonna 3 or 4 jack a hole.
Yeah. Well, Will, absolute pleasure. Tell us what's going on over at the Pick 6 pod.
Yeah, we got daily NFL content coming up with lead up to the draft. If you need prospect rankings, dash of mirth as we recap the latest news and notes around the NFL, we have you covered. And we also have a show from 4 to 5 p.m. on CBS Sports HQ every single weekday. So if people prefer their video action, they can check it out there as well.
Love it. We'll be tuning in. Lots of Masters content coming from the First Cut pod. I want to thank Greg for joining us today. He's at The Real GFD. I want to thank Will Brinson. He's at Will Brinson on Twitter. I'm Rick Gehman at RickRunGood on Twitter. Follow us, tweet us, hit us up, and we'll see you next time.